Hi, everyone. Welcome to the weekly segment on Ali's Attic Show, the food talk with Sanjay in the attic. Sanjay is an actor, author, nutrition, and fitness expert. He travels extensively speaking about all of these topics, as well as the book he wrote, The Food Talk. We're going to be talking about relevant topics concerning health and wellness, nutrition and fitness for all ages, and much, much more. If you have any questions for Sanjay, please type them in the chat. I will ask him as they come up. And the episode topic this week is sugar. Hello, Sanjay.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. I so look forward to Wednesdays now, and I never used to like
Same here.
Wednesdays.
Same here. Our last show went by so quickly. I was looking forward to this one, so this is great.
Yeah, and yeah, we decided on an hour, and it just flew. It was crazy.
Yeah,
We had so much audience participation. It was just amazing. Okay,
absolutely.
so tell us what we're gonna be talking about sugar.
Yeah, so sugar is one of those subjects that is very touchy with people. Why I say that is very personal, and that is sugar's been getting a lot of attention in the media, especially you see all these documentaries out there, like Super Size Me touched upon it a little bit, where he ate McDonald's and he consumed a lot of sodas, which contain a lot of sugar. And then there's all these other documentaries I see on the plane when I'm traveling about sugar. And what I want to impart to people is that sugar, not fat, is the biggest health challenge we have facing our kids, adults, we as adults and society in general, because sugar is in everything. The sugar lobby in the United States government is one of the most powerful lobby groups, more powerful than oil and gas, because it's in literally everything, because they need to maintain their customer base and they want to maintain lifetime customers.
Yeah, so they're not going to tell people.
Well, it's funny. They tell you what's in it. They just hide it behind different names all the time. So I'm always on the lookout, and I have to be what's in it. There's a chapter in my book called Being a Food Detective, where you literally have to research the names of the ingredients in your food, and half of which are just another fancy name to basically hide the fact that it's sugar.
Wow. There isn't a law saying that they can't do that, or
Well, nutrition labels. So I'm glad you brought up that point, and that is when I was writing my book, there was a law proposed on the Congress floor to basically add a second category, which was added sugars on the nutrition label. So you have sugar, and then they were lobbying to add added sugars. And of course, the sugar lobby said, no, we don't want that. People should be aware of what's in their food. Well, most people are not aware, and you guys like to hide this fact very cleverly with different names for sugar. So that law was passed, and as I published my book, now on the nutrition labels in the States, you have sugars and you have added sugars. So sugars on a nutrition label are what's occurring naturally, as far as, let's say you get like a fruit roll-up, for example, and it has sugar listed. So natural sugars is listed in the sugar section. Added sugars is all those sugars they added to basically sweeten it up, preserve it. So that is a huge, huge win for the consumer population, because now we know how much extra we're eating.
wow. I don't even know what to say. That's just not cool. Okay, so one of the things when I was talking about what we were going to be talking about tonight, one of the things that struck me from our last show is sugar. When you told me sugar is like an opioid.
Yeah, so it basically stimulates the brain at such a critical level. So what that means is, for example, there's a chapter in my book, and a lot of people get shocked when they read this chapter. It's called "What Do Cocaine, Cigarettes, and Sugar Have in Common?" And that's a chapter in my book. I wrote it that way, and at the time, my editor's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" I said, "Yes, absolutely. I want people to realize sugar is as addictive as cocaine, as cigarettes, on a psychological level, and opioid receptors in the brain react to sugar the exact same way they react to opioids if you were to take like a prescription drug or heroin."
Wow. That's scary. Like
Well,
it's
it's scary on so many levels, because we think about the fact that, especially children, the most vulnerable age group, they, marketers market to children for a reason, because if the children say they want it, they nag their parents, and the parents most times take the path of least resistance, as we talked about, and they basically succumb and say, okay, I'll get it for you. It's in cereal, it's in condiments, it's in I can't, I mean, that list goes on and on and on. And what food products we buy contain sugar. So when I got on my healthy journey, about when I started 6 years ago, I literally started throwing stuff out of my pantry going, nope, 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 nope. And my rule of thumb is, if it can, like, for example, protein bars. Do you eat protein bars by chance?
No.
Okay. So protein bars really took off last 3 years. You see all these protein bars, and people, want something that's compact, light, full of protein on the go. Well, the problem with protein bars is, unless you do something to sweeten them up, they kind of taste like crap, honestly.
Yeah, they do.
So, you got all these protein bars that came out, and everybody would say, all right, well, we have the highest amount of protein, but in order to make that protein palatable, they add an equivalent amount of sugar. So you're basically eating candy bars with a lot of protein. So what's the difference here? Well, now you're eating a candy bar that's got more protein and costs twice as much. So my rule of thumb, kind of my first tidbit to the audience on sugar, for example, if you're a protein bar fanatic, if that's something you have to basically supplement a meal, or because you skipped a meal, try to find protein bars that contain at least 7 grams or less of sugar per bar. Because anything above that, you're approaching the candy bar territory. And the other thing to keep in mind is, they'll disguise it by saying there's only 1 gram of sugar, but 17 grams of sugar alcohol. Same thing, by the way. Sugar is sugar. If you call it sugar or sugar alcohol, same thing.
Wow. We have a first question.
Yes.
And it made me giggle. Okay, so Sanjay, your son would like to know if you'll write a second book. Your daughter would like to ask if her picture will be in the second book if you write one.
All right. Well, you know what? Both my son and daughter are so excited about this show. My son's name is Sanjay Raja Jr., and my daughter's name is Sydney Raja. And to answer their question, I'm going to write a second book. And the other answer to their question is, there are going to be lots of pictures of them. I'm going to make them famous, for sure.
There you go. There's the answer. Okay, so we have more questions than that. That was just, that made me giggle. And hello to your wife and family. Okay, so some people think this is a question. Some people think if they use substitutes like Splenda or Equal, they think it's better for them. And same with stevia.
Well, that's a common question, and here's the answer to that question. What's better to drink? And I'm going to give you a quiz, Allie. If you had a choice between Coke and Diet Coke, what do you think I would recommend you drink?
Well, because I know the answer to this question, I'm going to say Coke.
Yeah, and there's a reason why. A lot of people don't know this, and that is sugar substitutes such as Splenda, Equal, the pink packet, the blue packet, whatever packet you choose, right? Mm-hmm. Diet Coke became so popular, diet drinks in general became so popular because it's saying, hey, no sugar, 0 calories. But here's what happened. Those sweeteners are made to be 10 times sweeter than sugar for a reason. They don't have to add as much, but here's what it did. It tricks your brain into wanting more sugar over time. So the more Diet Cokes you drink, the more you crave sugar subconsciously at a psychological level. So what they didn't drink in regular Coke. So for example, a can of Coke has roughly, I think, 30 grams of sugar roughly. Mm-hmm. They would make up for the fact they would drink probably 3 or 4 cans of Diet Coke a day. And so they actually increase their sugar addiction because psychologically the brain wants more, because you're feeding it molecules that are 10 times more addictive than regular sugar molecules. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
then, okay, so not that it's good to drink either. I'm just going to put that out there. But people that think, oh, I'm okay, so we know diet is just a word. It's lifestyle changes. I got educated by Sanjay. It's lifestyle changes. So if somebody was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to lose weight and I'm drinking too much Coke, so I'm going to switch to Diet Coke, they're not helping themselves whatsoever. Is it making it worse?
They are making it worse because now they're tricking themselves into thinking, oh, I'm not actually consuming any of those sugar calories. But what you did do is at a psychological level, at one of the deepest levels in your brain, you are now feeding your addiction to sugar and making it stronger.
Wow, that is insane. I need to have a talk with my boyfriend. Okay. He drinks Diet Cherry Pepsi thinking, oh my goodness, I'm doing so well. I'm going to be like, oh, no, you're not. Okay, so smoothie or another question, smoothie or tea? And I guess they're
Smoothie or
talking about like green teas, like the healthy teas. And
right?
I had started drinking smoothies, so I'm really going to listen to the answer. Well, I'm listening anyways, but I want to know the
So
answer to this question.
it depends. It depends. And that is if you go to restaurants or places like Smoothie King and things like that. I actually stepped into one of those just out of curiosity. And the menu items they had for smoothies were insane. They had one which was called like this peanut butter blast, which was 1,000 calories. I was like, are you kidding me? A smoothie? You want to drink 1,000 calories? That's insane to me. So you got to be really careful about what kind of smoothies you decide to, consume. So at the end of the day, I would say green tea is better. It's got the fat burning qualities. Cold green tea is kind of making a huge shift in how people drink tea. You don't have to necessarily drink it hot. But if you want my quick fix as far as smoothie goes, make your own. The best way to do it, I make a smoothie at home, for example. We take non-fat, plain Greek yogurt, add spinach, some kale, apple, some berries, blend it up, throw some honey and some walnuts, and you're good to go.
Wow. Okay, so I'm doing it right. I'm using the non-fat yogurt and I'm using berries mostly.
Yeah, you can use berries. Smoothies are great in the morning because, number one, you're dehydrated, so you're leanest in the morning. But berries are great because they're belly flatteners. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. Absolutely.
Okay. Good to know because yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that next show about me doing my lifestyle change. Okay, so I'm curious. When my daughter was growing up, I mean, we weren't really, and this is going back to the Food Talk, your book, where people are taught what to feed their children via their parents. So I didn't really know, that sugar wasn't really, a good thing to give a kid until probably she was old enough to decide what she was going to eat or not. Whereas my grandchildren, she's really on top of them about the sugar intake, and she has been ever since they were little. Like Halloween, I'm sure isn't as fun as it is for them as it is for most people. And I want to talk about Halloween coming up too because
Yeah.
let's talk about sugar. But psychologically, we always talk about, oh, the child's on a sugar high because they're just acting out and going crazy, but that's real. They do go on a sugar high.
Well, it's for example, adults kind of feel sugar high. What we call it is, oh my God, I hit the wall and I'm crashing, right? I've heard this all the time where people, go to lunch, for example, eat a high calorie lunch and lots of sugar in it. And then by mid-afternoon after lunch, they're crashing because their sugar high is over. So kids experience the same thing, except kids feel it more profoundly than we do as adults. Like food affects them in more profound ways than it affects us as adults because their bodies are growing, their bodies are learning kind of how to react to certain foods. So one of the biggest concerns parents have that they've contacted me about is how much sugar is too much sugar. Well, I tell them this, and that is, you think about a can of Coke, all right? And this is I'm a very visual person, so I like to show visual learning aids to my clients. So what I do is I say, take a plastic cup and read to your child exactly how many grams of sugar is in a can of Coke. I think it's like 30 or 36. Now, take 1 sugar cube for every gram of sugar and put it in the cup. Show it to your kids. So you put a can of Coke, you show a clear plastic cup, and you have 36 cubes of sugar because each cube is a gram, so it's equivalent to 36 grams in the Coke. Now ask the child, what would you like to drink? What would you like to drink, the can of Coke or eat the cup of sugar? And they'll say, I want the can of Coke. And then where I make the connection is you are eating the sugar as you drink the Coke. And it's a really powerful visual aid for them to understand that all this sugar, even though I can't see it, I'm ingesting. And I know it's bad for me. Even I can tell you right now, any kid knows that eating 36 cubes of sugar is probably not a good idea. So if you give them a visual aid in showing them that, it sends a powerful message that that's a lot of sugar.
Good Lord, yeah. It would make me stop. I didn't, and you know what? I didn't know that it affected them more than it affects children more than it affected adults. I didn't know that. So, and
Because
that's all food.
and that's true because their brain chemistry is still developing at a really young age. So when parents say, "Oh, my kid had like 3 donuts or something like that, and he's on a sugar high," it's true. They are on a sugar high, and they're going to crash then too. Because what they're doing is they're developing those receptors at a very young age, and their receptors are more sensitive than our receptors when it comes to sugar.
Wow, that's crazy. That is insane. Okay, so let's talk about Halloween. I'm getting all kinds of questions about Halloween. um, what are your suggestions? I mean, because it's so. I could go on a rant about how all these holidays and whatever are commercialized, but I won't. So because it is out there that you dress up, you go around, you get candy, and that's like the whole purpose of the night. What is your advice to parents out there about sugar intake? I mean, we already check candies to make sure they're safe, but in reality, they're not because they're sugar.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I was a first time parent myself, and I put a section in the book, and there's a quote in the book that I love. It's one of my favorite quotes, which is by Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson said, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." I love that quote. The reason why is when my kids, raising my kids as a first time parent, I said, I'm going to take them off of sugar completely. I'm going to detox them. I'm going to do all this. And you know what? Then reality punched me in the mouth. And the reality was the fact that you can't eliminate all sugar from their diet. It's impossible. And also you have to realize if you take away that one thing in their diet, for example, being sugar, if you take it away completely, guess what? They're going to want it more.
Yeah.
That's just what happens. It's human nature. So I've come to a happy medium with my kids now. And when I tell my clients is, during Halloween time, you're going to get a lot of candy because that's the whole point is to get candy. So what do you do? And what I do in my house is after Halloween is over, I have them sort out their candy. I say, pick your top 5 candy. And they'll go through and pick their top 5. I let them have some at the moment. I said, pick your top 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to ration this candy out over the next 5 days. And you can have it. We're just not going to have it at one sitting. See, the problem with Halloween is you're going to get sugar, but parents allow them to have it all in one sitting. So they gorge themselves in one sitting, which is just wrong in every level because they're going to hit a wall. They're going to crash. They're not going to fall asleep. It's going to cause a whole host of issues. So I tell parents, hey, let them have their candy. Pick 5 or 6 pieces of candy, parse it out over 5 or 6 days, and give the rest to employees, coworkers, whoever wants it. Not that I'm advocating giving more people sugar, but if you don't want to trash it, you can give it away. So that's kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to Halloween.
Okay. I never ever thought of doing that. That's a great idea. Everybody's agreeing that that's a great idea right now.
Very good.
Yeah. Now, we talked about how many sugar I have in my coffee. So I have 2 coffees per day. That's it. Sometimes 3. Yeah. But everybody teases me because I don't like coffee, which is so weird, but I have to have it. And I'm sure that's just an addiction that I need to get rid of because I'm sure you can get addicted to, well, yeah, caffeine. Yeah, of course you're going to get addicted. But I have 3 sugar in each cup of coffee.
Okay.
So is it the coffee that's getting me going or is it the sugar? I don't even know now.
That's a great question because you're asking yourself, is it the caffeine or is it the sugar, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know. And here's the thing. Both are stimulants. So it's impossible to know which one is affecting you more. Okay. So here's how you can maybe mitigate how much stimulation you're getting from your coffee and maybe mitigate how much sugar you're intaking. And I would do this by doing something very simply, which is you have 3 cups of coffee throughout the day. Is that correct?
In the morning. All in one. Yeah, in the morning.
Okay, gotcha. So 3 separate cups of coffee in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I would do. First cup of coffee, you're waking up, you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you need that pick-me-up, fine, put your sugar in that cup. Okay. Second cup of coffee, don't put any sugar in there. Okay. Third cup of coffee, if you can avoid putting sugar in there, do so. If not, put just 1 cube versus 3.
Okay.
Now, why am I going to do this? Because what we're going to do is slowly reduce your need to add sugar by reducing it by 20, 30% every time.
Okay.
Most people can't go cold turkey. I'm one of the few people who can go cold turkey on anything. If I don't want something, I just give it up, done. I don't have to look at it ever again. But a lot of people are not capable of doing that, and that's okay. So you have to gradually wean yourself off. And then guess what? Once you wean yourself off sugar to the point of maybe you're only having one sugar cube in 1 cup, you'll know exactly what that coffee is doing to you, and you can say it's not because of the sugar.
Interesting. Now, everybody's asking me about coffee creamer.
Yeah. Well, to me, when I say a coffee creamer, is pick your poison, honestly. Because if you're adding sugar and you add coffee creamer, you're kind of doubling up because a lot of coffee creamer has a lot of sugar, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
Plus, creamer is made with, if it's milk, milk contains casein. Casein is a natural protein which pretty much affects your pleasure center of your brain and basically makes you feel good. So, I look at it this way, and that is if you're trying to figure out a way to wean yourself off adding stuff to your coffee, do this. Morning cup of coffee, fine. Have your cream and sugar if that's what you absolutely need. Afternoon cup of coffee, just do maybe one cube of sugar. And then evening coffee, if you choose to have it in the evening, don't put anything, drink it black. Then the next morning, swap out the sugar and just do cream. Go back and forth and see how you feel. Because you'll get a sense of how you're feeling and what makes you feel better, what makes you feel worse. But at the end of the day, my recommendation is try not to double up on creamer and sugar at the same time because you're really adding a 1-2 punch to the addiction in your brain.
Okay. Now, everybody's going, there's milk in creamer? Is there non-dairy creamers?
Yes, there's non-dairy creamers. Absolutely, there is. I'm not a cream guy. I'm not milk in my coffee, creamer in my coffee. I drink it straight black. So I'm a little uneducated on all the different varieties, but I do know there's non-dairy creamer, there's dairy creamer. But here's the thing: ask yourself this question, and this is what I tell my clients all the time. They say to me, "Well, there's no sugar in there, but so I put this in there, like stevia." They say to me, well, it tastes just like sugar, but there's no sugar in there. So my biggest question is, you're trying to mimic some effect of the sugar, right? So ask yourself this question. If you're trying to mimic the effect of some sort of sweetness in there, some sort of kind of creamy taste in there, don't we need to address that issue versus kind of making excuses and saying, well, it's sugar-free, it's sugar-free. That's kind of my point.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're talking about taking coffee black. So the next question that just popped up is, what about flavored coffee?
So flavored coffee, that's a great question. I actually tried flavored coffee for a little while, and I realized I don't like it because I got off of sugar, and so my taste buds are 10 times more sensitive to sugar now that I'm off of it if I taste it. So flavored coffee, to me, coffee by nature is not flavored, okay? So that flavoring's got to come from somewhere, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So what are they adding? What kind of flavoring are they adding? How's it going to affect your brain? See, we don't know a lot, and I'll be honest with you, we don't know how a lot of these flavorings and additives affect the psychological chemistry of our brain. We just know sometimes if we like a flavoring, we gravitate towards it, and we like it, and we want more of it. But what do we understand what is it exactly doing to our brain? I can't say yes or no because it hasn't been studied. So my advice is get off the flavored coffees, go to regular coffee, see how you feel. And then if you still are gravitating towards, hey, I need a flavored coffee, maybe it's part of the bigger problem, which is you're craving some form of sugar and you just don't know it.
Wow. Okay. Now, there was a comment here. Oh, you don't drink coffee anymore? I wish I didn't have to drink coffee anymore. She said that she needs to drink coffee. This just struck me as weird. It doesn't have anything to do with sugar, but I was just like, what?
Yeah.
She said it helps her with her anxiety. I know when I drink milk, because I have anxiety, I can't drink a lot of coffee because it just makes my system bleh, and it makes me anxious.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of coffee helping with anxiety?
Well, coffee contains caffeine, right? So caffeine, basically, you feel peppy, you feel more energetic, you feel like you can run a mile sometimes, right? So you're increasing that blood flow. You know what I mean? So I can understand why somebody who's got some anxiety feels like coffee is the pick-me-up they need, that energy they need to kind of feel more awake, more psychologically in control of their emotions. So it has that antidepressant quality. Feeling anxiety is not feeling depressed, obviously, but it just stimulates that upper feeling, where you feel like, wow, I can run a mile after I drink a cup of coffee. So it does stimulate more blood flow. So like I said, I'm not an expert on the fact of exactly how it affects psychological disorders, but I can tell you just from the physiology of it, it stimulates that blood flow, so you feel more awake and more in control.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the 3 p.m. pick-me-up, because I think it happens to everyone. So, okay, we're not going to include me in this because I don't eat breakfast. So people eat breakfast, whatever they choose to eat for breakfast, and then they have their lunch. And if they are ingesting a lot of sugar, at 3 p.m., it seems to be the time where you have your sugar crash.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the best way? Like, I mean, don't pick up a candy bar, obviously.
So here, this is a perfect question because I have a client and her big thing was she had to drink her morning, afternoon, and evening chai. And I think I told this story last time. Mm-hmm. But the chai contains a lot of sugar. And so she would tell me, she goes, God, I feel so hypoglycemic after lunch because my blood sugar levels are dropping. I said, well, what you did was you trained your brain into thinking, hey, we need our fix. Where is it? So what happens is it's not so much physiological as it is psychosomatic. So psychosomatic means that your brain is trained, hey, I need that sugar high because the receptors in your brain are firing. They're going, hey, where's our 3 o'clock sugar fix? And we don't give it to your brain. Your brain kind of gets a little depressed. And you're like, wow, I feel down. I feel less energetic. But here's the thing. It's called withdrawal. And withdrawal it happens to drug addicts. Withdrawal happens to people who basically are addicted to cigarettes. Withdrawal is a natural thing. And withdrawal is actually telling you, hey, this is a problem. I was probably consuming too much sugar. So when you take away that sugar, that the brain is fighting back. But guess what? Like any withdrawal, it takes a little bit of time and you get past it. And once you get past it, you don't want to go back.
So then when people are going through this and they're trying to get off sugar, and obviously they're going to still have that 3 p.m. want a fix of something or of sugar. Yes. What would fruit be, and then I have a next question, but would fruit be something to choose?
Well, here's the thing. What I tell people is eat something with high protein, high fiber. It keeps you satiated, and you really won't crave that sugar. So I tell my clients no fruit after 10 a.m. because fruit contains sugar. So basically, I tell them, hey, have as much fruit you want in the morning, but after 10 a.m., stop eating fruit because you're more likely to store that sugar rather than burn it off, because most people have jobs where they sit in front of a desk, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever work they have to do. So you're just going to be storing that sugar, and it's going to turn into fat and so on and so forth. So I tell people, instead of doing that, here's a quick fix. I take a spoonful, or I take a little small pack of almond butter if I'm on the road and I need a 3 o'clock snack. And what I do is basically take a big scoop of almond butter, put a little bit of salt on it, a little bit of honey, and basically put some cinnamon on it. Eat that. I'm good to go till dinner now. Because It's high good fat, high fiber, and high protein.
Okay. Good to know. Now my next question. I didn't know that either. Next question. Yogurt. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks, okay, I'm making a lifestyle change. I want to lose weight, so I'm going to eat yogurt like crazy.
Great. Yogurt is one of those foods that I call one of the most notorious offenders of sugar, because people typically don't buy plain non-fat yogurt and eat that. Wouldn't you agree? They would technically buy yogurt with fruit flavor, with fruit on the bottom, with nuts on the top. I mean, I've seen these things. they don't sell just yogurt anymore. It's a yogurt parfait dessert. Have you seen these at the grocery stores?
Yes, I have. I've never had them because I don't like all the, I just like, but I do buy flavored yogurt, but I also buy
It,
non-fat. But anyway,
it's crazy. If you know, here's the thing. Are you eating yogurt because of the probiotics? If so, great. But guess what? It has probiotics. Eat a pickle. Have some sauerkraut. You don't have to necessarily eat yogurt all the time. Now, great thing about, Greek yogurt, it's got a high protein, so I love the fact that it has that. So what I would do is if you have to have yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt, throw in some walnuts, put a little drizzle of honey, mix it up, and now you've got a high protein snack. And because honey is basically a great source of energy and it also doesn't affect your glycemic index, don't go crazy. Just a spoonful of honey to add that sweetness, you're good to go.
wow. Okay, so now let's talk fruit. Is that everybody says, oh, well, fruit has good sugar in it. And I'm like, there's a difference.
Well, okay, so that's another great question. Sugar is sugar is sugar is sugar. All right. At the end of the day, your body doesn't know the difference between added sugar and natural sugar. There's no way for your body to tell the difference, by the way. So, that being said, fruit is good. I like fruit. I like to eat fruit, but I only eat fruit for breakfast and nothing after 10 a.m. because I know it's going to happen. I'm going to eat a lot of fruit. It's going to store in my body and turn into fat. So therefore, I keep my fruit to breakfast before 10 a.m. and I cut it off after that. So the myth is there's good sugar and then there's bad sugar. Well, the truth of the matter is your body can't tell the difference between natural sugar and added sugar. That's the truth.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
It's still going to process it and store it the same exact way. That's just what's going to happen.
That's just what's going to happen. Okay. All right. Okay. So somebody asked about artificial sugar. We already talked about that. It's not good. I don't even know how to. It's just not good. Drink it black. I'm just telling you, drink it black.
Drink it black.
Pardon?
No. You're right. Drink it black. That's a great saying. If you're going to drink your coffee, drink it black.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
drink it black or your tea or whichever the case may be. So, okay, now I have another question. You see all of these, and they do call them diet plans on TV. Where they say that they'll deliver you food and fitness, and basically somebody comes to your door and changes your life. Now, is the food like Weight Watchers and stuff like, and I mean, I don't want to get you in trouble with any of these brands, but diet food, I'll just say diet food. Is it actually diet food?
So, here's the thing. I don't mind. I've rubbed a lot of companies the wrong way. And, I don't care. You know why? Because the truth has to come out. And their marketing campaigns are just so robust that I'm one voice. And if my voice rattles a few cages, so be it. So that being said, there's a reason why these companies are in business. And let's think about this. You have Nutrisystem, you have Jenny Craig, you've got all these different diet plans, right? They don't hide the fact they use the word diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is diet? Diet is short-term fix that is not sustainable, correct?
Yes.
So what does that mean? They have a repeat customer for life. Their goal is not to make you lose weight so you fire them. Their goal is for you to lose a certain amount of weight in a certain period of time, and then basically you'll come running back to them. That's what they expect.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So people don't think about this, and that's why this is my job to expose this, and that is whenever the word diet is so taboo with me, because when I think diet, I think non-sustainable. These companies didn't get this big and rich because people hit their weight loss goals and quit them. No, they got repeat customers because they hit these unrealistic weight loss goals saying, hey, I'm going to look good for a wedding. I'm going to go on Jenny Craig. Okay, do it for 6 weeks. You're going to lose the weight. It's going to happen. If you do any sort of calorie restriction, by the way, I don't need to pay somebody $800 every 3 months to tell me to eat less food. I can do that on my own.
True. Okay. I just asked because they advertise all these foods and and they make it sound like, oh my God, does drinking a lot of coffee and tea inhibit vitamin and mineral absorption?
You know, that's actually a great question. It depends in the sense of, are you taking supplements or are you just talking about the natural vitamins and minerals that you get from food? There's a big difference, okay?
Okay.
And so Example, I tell people vitamins and supplements are a huge waste of money. That's the reason why Americans have the most expensive urine in the world. This is what I tell people all the time. Because there's only so much vitamins and minerals you can absorb in a single pill. And you get these pills that have 2,000 micrograms of vitamin C. Guess what? You're going to expel most of that because your body can't absorb 2,000 micrograms of vitamin C in one shot. It just doesn't happen. Okay? So this is the reason why vitamins and a lot of these supplements are expensive, number one, unnecessary, number two. If you're eating properly and you're hitting all your benchmarks in terms of protein, fiber, carbs, and even minimal amount of sugar, you don't need supplements. You don't need vitamins. You just don't. I haven't taken one in God knows how long. I do just fine. My kids don't take them. They're doing just fine. My clients don't really take them. They're doing just fine because you can get everything you need from your food. And basically, you produce a lot of your vitamins from, like, for example, vitamin E is produced from sunlight hitting your skin. So why do you need to take extra vitamin E pills? Why?
Yeah.
Or vitamin D, I'm sorry. It's
Vitamin D. Yeah, no, vitamin D. Vitamin
Yeah.
E does something completely different.
Yeah. You know
Yes.
what? Egg. Perfect example. Eggs. You know why? You know why I love eggs? I eat 6 to 7 eggs every morning, and I've been doing this for 6 years. And the reason why? Eggs, the yolk, contains 98% of every nutrient you need in one egg.
Are you serious?
I am not joking.
Well, I love eggs, so that's a
And
good thing.
eggs bad rap for the longest time because they said, throw away the yolk, eat the whites. You know why? Because they're trying to create a new food market. So what happened is the white part is the protein, which is great, but it's not nutrient dense. The yellow part, the yolk, contains all the nutrients. And by the way, the study was proven. Eggs don't raise endogenous cholesterol. They don't do it. It was a myth. It was a charade. It was to create a new market so they could sell these prepackaged egg white cartons where you just pour egg whites and you get an egg white omelet. You know what? You're missing the good stuff. The yolk is creamy. It's velvety. It's awesome. I love it. And it contains 98% of what you need.
Wow. Okay. I'm really hoping that my stepdad is sitting beside my mother right now because he gives me a hard time. Don't eat so many eggs. Your cholesterol is going to go sky high. Now I can say,
Yeah.
oh, no, no, no.
That's definitely a myth.
Okay. Oh, here's another question. Water flavored enhancers when it comes to sugar.
Oh, God. I'm glad somebody brought up that question because when I was working in the medical field, I used to have lunch with the nurses in the operating room that basically, we did surgeries with. And so we'd all go to lunch together. And then one of the nurses brought the Mio, I believe that's what it was called, like the Mio flavored water thing.
Yes, Mio, yeah.
And she would pour it in. I'm like, why do you want like funky colored water? She's like, no, it tastes good. I said, okay. So what does it taste like? She goes, well, this one's berry, this one's orange. She brought a different flavor all the time. And I said, so what's really going on here? And she's like, well, I just need to flavor my water so I can drink more water. I'm like, okay, let's break this down a little bit. And see, people hate me because I like to get behind the root cause of what's going on here. And then when we get to the answer, they're like, why did you burst my bubble? Why are you doing that? So, because I'm really trying to figure out what's the real reason why you're doing something. And once you know, then you can either continue to do it or stop. Really, that's what it comes down to. So Mio, the flavored waters and all that stuff, if you want flavored water, you know what I suggest you do? Simplest thing in the world. And that is, don't drink something where you're adding chemicals into your water because you don't know how it's going to affect you. Like I said, I can't tell you with any certainty how it's going to affect your brain chemistry. Is it going to make you more addicted to sugar? I don't know. Now, I know the artificial sweeteners do, but I don't know what these flavorings in the water do. But it's chemicals, man-made chemicals. So why would you want to add chemicals into your system? That's my first question. Number two, if you want infused water, this is what I recommend. Take a jar, cut up some fruit, put some water in it, put it in the refrigerator overnight, pour that glass into a water bottle, and you've got fruit-infused water. Done.
I've seen that, actually. I watch cooking shows like crazy, and I've seen them do that. I wanted, okay, now that we're talking completely off topic again, but water. I have a hard time drinking water, and I'm going to tell you why. I can't put flavoring in it either because I don't like it. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, who is now 32, let's just put a time frame on here.
Sure.
They told me that she was going to be small. like
Okay.
too small. So I was
Okay.
going for fetal assessment every week. So every week I had to go in once a day and drink 8 glasses of water because we're talking 32 years ago. I had to do that every week until she was born. I don't know if the water takes me back to that or I have a hard time drinking it.
When you're forced to do something, by nature, you basically then have memories of it and you realize, I don't want to do that now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
does.
you think about it this way. People always talk about, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. Well, here's where you start. Water is the most basic thing you can do to help yourself lose weight and flatten your belly. Basically what you do, water flushes the system. Water, our body is 76% water. It's vital for every organ. It helps to clean and basically flush out toxins in your blood. You need water to survive. Okay? So water is the most basic principle. Now, to really kind of dig down deep into your question, I think it comes down to the fact that you were told you have to do this much amount of water in order for whatever you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have an aversion to it. Okay? So that being said, you have to create routines for yourself where water is not something you dread but look forward to. Okay?
Okay.
How do you do that? Well, exercise is the number one most important thing you can do, because what do we do when we're exercising? We're thinking, I need to have a sip of water. I need to drink water after I'm done. Go running, jogging, biking, whatever it is you're doing. You need some water at the end because you feel tired and you're rehydrated. So develop some routines where you start to crave water, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, for example, is people who want to lose weight sometimes will substitute eating a meal by drinking lots of water. Now, do I recommend that? Not really, but if you want to do it, that's another way to get a lot of water in your system.
Okay.
Late at night, I drink probably about 2 liters before I go to bed. And in the morning, and you know what? We're going to get personal on this show. Guess what? You have a fantastic bowel movement in the morning. You feel 10 pounds lighter. So there you go.
Well, there you go. See, and that's where coffee comes in handy for me. Sparkling water. Is it good for you, or is there sugar added in there? Like, is it as good as they say it is?
No. Sparkling water, carbonated water is horrible in every way. And let me tell you why. Number one, it dehydrates you. It doesn't actually refresh you. And moreover, this is what it does that people don't realize. So whenever you drink a carbonated beverage, sparkling water, Coke, Sprite, whatever your poison is, what happens is it's very acidic because of the carbonation, okay? So it goes into your stomach and your pH level of your stomach acid actually lowers. So it becomes very acidic in your stomach. And so the body has to create equilibrium in the system. What does it do? It leaches calcium from your bones to create a natural antacid to neutralize all that acid. So what you're actually doing over time is you are accelerating the process of osteoporosis because you're leaching calcium out of your bones to neutralize that acid from the CO2. That's the reason why people created Tums and Rolaids, because it's just pure calcium you're throwing into your system.
Wow.
So carbonated water, you're not doing yourself any favors.
You're right. Everybody's here's like, what? Are you serious?
No, not joking.
We're serious. We're very, very serious. Okay.
Yeah.
It is now 1:45, so we're gonna do the giveaway thing, and then
Okay.
we'll finish off the show. So Sanjay contacted me this week and said, you know what, I want to do a giveaway. So I'm like, okay. He goes, okay, tell everybody the code word is sugar. And I'm like, tell them? And he's like, yes. Oh, is that any carbonated drink? Yes, any carbonated drink. He named them all along with sparkling water. And he also answered your question about vitamins and minerals, Wanderlust. He said get them naturally from food. He doesn't take vitamins, neither do his children. He's got twins. So that's an answer to your question there. Okay. So anyways, the code word is sugar. And do you want to tell them how you win?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
I
so what you have
really...
to do... Oh, you did hear it? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure this person heard the answer to his question. Okay. What you have to do is the first 5 people that go onto Instagram, type the word sugar and tag me and Sanjay. Now, Sanjay is at Go Big Raja, and I'm at Ali's Attic Show. So I've got my Twitter open. It's, or not my Twitter. Good Lord, I keep saying that. My Instagram is open. So the first 5 people that go and type the word sugar, I'm going to tell you what you win. My iPad just fell over. What you're going to win is amazing. I'll let you tell them what they're going to win.
So what you will win by typing in the word sugar is a complimentary 25-minute health assessment from me over Skype, where we're going to sit down, talk about what you're doing as far as nutrition goes, what your goals are, and how do we get you there with a simple 25-minute assessment.
Okay, yes, on any post. Go and post whatever kind of picture you want on your Instagram. I'm getting asked any post. Go and post whatever picture you want, because we all know you have to post a picture with Instagram. And then just type the word sugar and tag at Go Big Raja and at Ali's Attic Show. The first 5 people that do that win what he just, with the Skype consultation, which to me is gold. I think so many people should have that daily. But anyway, I guess I'm going to. I don't know if I'm excited about that or not. So yes, the first 5 people, I've got my Instagram open beside me, so either we'll know during the show or we'll know after the show, either way. Because you're tagging both of us will see the answer, or whoever won. And thank God social media timestamp stuff. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so we now know sugar is, like you said, like an opioid. I mean, seriously, Sanjay, that blew my mind last week when you told me that. I never, ever thought of it like that. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh my God, that's right. You know, it makes sense. It just blew my mind. What else? I mean, it rots teeth. Like, it does a lot of bad things.
Yeah, so I used to fight in a lot of full contact tournaments in martial arts. I used to do that, and I used to walk around. My weight went from like 210 to 190 to 175, and so I kind of went up and down in weight, and I had a lot of scar tissue from injuries. I had just a lot of inflammation, because back then my diet really wasn't that great. I ate a lot of protein, I ate some fiber, but at the end of the day, I really wasn't watching my sugar intake. So when I started my journey about 5-6 years ago, I said, I'm really going to focus on just eliminating sugar. And what I found is my inflammation is gone. My joints feel better. My skin feels much more clear. My mental clarity is more there. And I know this because what would happen is I used to have 1 can of Coke for dinner every day. And if I didn't get that can of Coke for dinner, guess what? I was in a really pissed off mood. I couldn't tell you why. I was just pissed off. And that was withdrawal. That's what it boiled down to. So sugar, we are seeing now research come out that it accumulates in different organs in the body. And they're doing tests now to see if excess consumption of sugar in lab rats causes cancer, because they just found a link between consumption of excess sugar and cancer. So all these new studies are coming out because sugar, the big lobbyist in our government, can't hide this anymore. It's just become a national epidemic, especially for our children. So my advice is this. Are you going to have sugar throughout the day? Probably. It's hard to avoid unless you're like me, which watches everything I eat. So here's what you need to do. If you're absolutely going to have sugar, try to keep track of it. Try to limit your daily sugar intake to 30, 40 grams a day at most if you can. And to me, that's a big number. To a lot of people, that's nothing. They'll have that in one sitting. 30 grams is 1 can of Coke. So guess what? Instead of having Coke every day, do it maybe every other day, then switch to every 3 days, every 4 days. If you just start reducing sugar intake by 30% a week, you're going to notice profound changes in your body, from your skin, your mental clarity, to weight loss will be accelerated, not by fat loss, but by decreasing the amount of sugar. You will lose more weight than if you decrease your amount of fat intake.
Wow. Well, we're going to find out, because I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. Okay, so in saying that, so the contest is still open. The first 5 people that go on Instagram, type the word sugar and tag at Go Big Raja or at Ali's Attic Show. You got to tag both of us at Go Big Raja at Ali's Attic Show. You will win a 25-minute nutritional assessment via Skype with Sanjay. So, no Gatorade. Is Gatorade good?
No.
Oh my God, my grandson drinks that at football.
It's essentially sugar water and basically they hide it behind electrolytes and all this good stuff, But at the end of the day, drink some fruit infused water. You can do that. Or, what's great after a workout is pickle juice. Pickle juice contains a lot of electrolytes and it rehydrates you.
Okay, so it's a good thing I love pickles?
Yeah, that's a great thing, honestly. Pickles are full of probiotics, so it's fantastic.
Okay, good. And it doesn't matter if they're garlic?
Garlic, yeah. I prefer the spicier, savourier pickles versus the sweet. Sweet I can't handle.
I don't like sweet, but I like Bick's dill pickle. Bring on the dragon breath. Stop it.
I agree.
Okay. Now, we'll be talking on our social media what the next topic is going to be. I'm so glad that this was our second topic because, like I said, you blew my mind last Wednesday when you said that sugar acts like an opioid. I was like, what? And then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it does. So I'm so glad we talked about this. And especially with Halloween coming up, like what a perfect topic, so parents can be, maybe this is what I'm going to try to do this month. Instead of what they usually do, because I stay away from children on Halloween. I'm going to be completely honest. Now, one of the things Sanjay and I are going to do is I'm going to do a before picture, and then as per Sanjay's suggestions, I'm going to change my lifestyle. And I'm going to start it before my surgery. Everybody knows that I'm going to get the surgery. So I'm going to start it before my surgery because, as Sanjay said, I'll feel better after my surgery if I start it before my surgery. And that's going to help me because I'm so nervous about going. And then we're going to just do, I guess, a weekly kind of like, I don't want to call it a weigh-in because I don't have a scale. So a weekly YouTube thing showing me or...
Yeah, we'll do a check-in to see how you're progressing.
Okay.
And like I said, we're not going to weigh you because at the end of the day, scales lie depending on how much you drank, how much you ate. Your clothes will tell you the truth every single time, like we talked about.
Okay, so throw away those scales, people.
Yeah.
See, yeah. And now I have an even better excuse as to why I no longer have a scale in my house. I'm really excited about doing this project with me, actually me. And I'm going to tell you why. And I want to maybe talk about this one topic we talk about. My daughter has POS, polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yes.
One of the side effects is gaining weight, which she has, but her diet does not help. She is a very, very heavy girl. Love her to death. She knows that I was going to talk to you about this. So I want to talk about that one day, about, different diseases and like thyroid and, stuff like that, and what you can do to kind of combat it instead of just I think a lot of people just give in. You know what I mean? They don't try.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And to speak to PCOS a little bit, and that is a lot of our diet, whether or not we know it, we consume what are called xenoestrogens. Have you heard about this?
No.
So xenoestrogens are basically exogenous sources of chemicals that mimic the effects of estrogen. And that's what a xenoestrogen is. And what they're finding a lot is, for example, people who drink water, water from water bottles, and if they leave it in their car, for example, the heat actually leaches the chemicals from the plastic into the water and causes an increase in xenoestrogens. So these are things that we're finding more and more of, and natural foods actually will increase estrogen levels. For example, soy products increase estrogen levels. Now, women have a higher level than men do, but I recommend a lot to my clients is to limit their intake of soy in any way, shape, or form, because that can increase your estrogen levels to your detriment.
Wow. I learned. See, my God, you blow me away. I'm learning all this stuff as I'm sitting here. I was just like, oh my goodness. He sounds handsome. All righty then.
That's a new one.
He says thank you for that one. He is handsome, you guys. Go check him out. It's at Go Big Raja on all social media. Okay, what about lactose intolerance people?
So I am so on board with the notion that we should not be drinking milk. And don't even get me started on that, but I'll give you a little bit of that. And that is, I'll give you a real brief story, and I don't want to run over time. But the reason why I hate milk, just an aesthetic reason, is I was scarred for life as a little kid. And you'll find the story very funny. Basically, what happened is I grew up in India, and at the bottom of our apartment was a farm where you would go to get fresh milk. And so my grandfather would take me downstairs to go get a bucket of fresh milk in India. And so they had goats, they had water buffalo, and they had yaks. And so I was scarred with milk twice. So what happened was goat's milk is just rancid in every way. It's too strong for me. Water buffalo milk is so disgusting on every level. And then what happened is my grandfather said, "Oh, this is yak milk." Now, yak milk comes out pink.
What?
Yeah, it comes out pink naturally. And when there's a thick layer of cream, and I don't want to discuss anybody on the show, but I thought the animal bled into the milk. No,
oh my God, you just disgusted all of us. All I'm seeing everywhere is ew.
Yeah. So I was so traumatized by that. I went off of milk for a while, and then it happened again. I got back on milk when I moved to the States because my mom made me drink it. One day, she would set out chocolate milk for me every morning. We were living in our house in Houston, Texas. She opened the back door, and I drank my chocolate milk, and at the bottom of my glass, I found a dead butterfly. So that scarred me again.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Then I said, no more. I can't handle this. So I stopped milk. But at the end of the day, the serious answer is name one other species of animal that drinks another species' discharge. And that's what I call milk. It's discharge. That's all it is. Because no other animal on the planet besides humans drinks another species' animals. Can you name one? Because I can't. Number one. Number two, there was a Swedish study done about 5 years ago. And the reason why this study is not allowed in the U.S. is because the Powerful Dairy Association doesn't want people to know. They're pushing this whole thing of drink milk, drink milk. The reason why? Almond milk, nut milk, rice milk has gained popularity because people are catching on to the fact that natural milk, now most of the milk we get is not natural because it's pumped full of hormones, is not good for the human body. It's got so many inflammatory effects from the lactose. But the Swedish study, what they found was they had a control group of women who drank 1 glass of milk a day, and then they had basically a test group. They had 3 glasses of milk a day. You know what they found? The women who had 3 glasses of milk a day had a higher rate of fracture than the women who had 1 glass of milk a day because there's an enzyme in milk called galactose, which actually accelerates fractures in bones. There's my soapbox right there.
Oh my God! So it doesn't make healthy bones and teeth. Okay,
no.
Wait. So you're saying somebody's asking me plant-based milk then?
Plant-based milk I would recommend over drinking cow's milk or any sort of milk because most of it's filled with hormones, and B, it's so inflammatory with the lactose in there. So yes, go with almond milk, 0 sugar. If you get the 0 sugar almond milk, my kids drink that and they're happy.
0 sugar almond milk. I'm gonna have to try it. I keep looking at it, but I'm scared. I grew up on milk, and the weird part is I grew up on a farm for a lot of my life, and I milked cows. You'd think that would disgust me, but it didn't. Anyway. We will get into, I'm getting questions about foods that help reduce inflammation and pain naturally. That can be a next subject that we talk about.
Oh, that could be 10 different topics right there.
10 different topics. We're going to cover it all. But our time is just about up. I want to remind everybody there is a contest happening right now. You have to go onto Instagram. You have to type the word sugar, and you have to tag at Go Big Raja, Raja, as well as at Allie's Attic Show. You can put any picture you want on Instagram. Just make sure you type sugar and tag both of us. The first 5 people that do that are going to win a 25-minute Skype nutritional assessment consultation from Sanjay Raja, which is priceless as far as I'm concerned. Sanjay, thanks again. I could do this all night.
Yeah. I looked at the time and I said, "Is it an hour already?"
I know it goes by so fast. Maybe we should talk later about maybe doing longer. I don't know, because now I'm getting all kinds of questions. I want to say thank you everyone for joining. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the questions, and Thank you for being part of this. I appreciate. I know. Okay, we'll talk later about going 2 hours. Okay, people are saying we should go 2 hours. We'll talk about that after we get off the phone after this first hour. Oh my god. So you'll get tagged to see who the winners are. I'll get tagged, so we'll know who the winners are in that. And Sanjay, thank you as always. I love talking to you.
I appreciate it. I enjoy doing this segment. I look forward to it. And like I said, time flies faster every time we talk. And I want to please thank the audience for me, because their participation, them being proactive to basically take control of their health and knowledge, you know what? That makes me feel good, because if we can change one person on a path towards health and wellness, we did our job.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I think you're going to probably have more than one. I know me for sure, but you're going to have more than one. And thank you for joining us. And Sanjay and I will be on next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you're following us on social media. I already say Sanjay is at Go Big Raja, Raja. I'm at Ali's Attic Show. I'm Ali's Attic Show everywhere. Because we'll give you info on the next show. If there's going to be any more giveaways, we'll be talking about that as well. And everybody have a great night. And Sanjay, good night to you and your family. That was the best question of the night, by the way.
I know my kids were dying to ask the first question. They said, definitely do it. I'll answer and give a shout out.
Yeah, well, I had other questions happening on another platform, but I saw that one. I was like, no, that made me giggle. I'm saying that one first. Anyways, thank you. Everybody have a fantastic night, and join us next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right. Good night.